folks, we are very excited right now to be doing a training camp check-in with the great, the woman whose hand is on the pulse of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Miss Casey Phillips. Casey, how are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. You have the most exciting team, we'll say, right now in the NFL. And in this weird COVID era, not many eyes are there at training camps like in the past. What has the energy been like there in Tampa?
Yeah, it's weird. It doesn't feel like training camp in so many ways because there are no fans and I have to stand so far away and just so many weird things are different about it. But the atmosphere in terms of the enthusiasm and energy from the team hasn't lost a beat. I mean, they are fired up. They're ready. You can tell they're excited. And it's almost cool because I feel like you actually can hear that a little bit more with less people there, that you hear the trash talk, you hear the excitement, you hear you get to hear a little bit more of that stuff than you normally would. So yeah, believe me, they're plenty fired up, even though it feels a little different.
And you got a great view, guys. If you go on Casey's Instagram, which is just Casey reporting, you'll see one of her recent posts. I said it was like Batwoman overlooking the practice. That's a great spot you got.
Yeah, it's perfect. It's nice and socially distanced. I got a nice up and angled view. Yeah, that's where actually we shoot training camp live. So we have a 30 to 45-minute live show every day of practice. I say it varies on the length because it depends on how long the periods are that we can show because it's happening right behind us. So once they get to the periods that we're not allowed to show, we got to kill the show. So yeah, we have a live show at the beginning. We have a camera that cuts into shots of practice. We take fan questions. So that's our stage set up for the beginning of that. So I just tend to sometimes stay there and have that nice angled view of practice.
That is awesome. So what has changed now? Because a lot has changed in Tampa. For you, now you've been in Tampa for 5 years. What have you seen now, energy level, with Bruce Arians coming in and then Tom Brady coming over, Gronk getting added to this team? What's it been like for you with this new, attention level over there?
Yeah, it's so weird. I mean, definitely there is more attention on it, but it's hard to feel that way when, again, like I've been doing all of it over Zoom and all of it,
Right.
so much of it from home. Up until just a couple weeks ago, I had just been in my apartment and people would be like, "Oh, what's the vibe around the building?" And I'm like, "I don't know. No one's in there." Like it's just so weird. So yeah, it's definitely more attention, more eyeballs. I mean, even just when we announced that we were signing him, I hadn't even done anything yet. And all of a sudden I had all these new followers and I think people keep asking, "Oh, is the team more fired up now?" And I'm like, no, like every year, if you're not like that, you're not in the NFL. If you're not already individually as motivated as you can be, like you're not in the NFL. So as far as the team, like it doesn't feel that different because every year they come in and work their butts off and do everything they can. It's more of the outside that things have changed a lot, I think, and just the perception and the attention. And I love that for our team because again, they have been working so hard for so long. I'm just so excited they are going to get the attention I think that they should have already been deserving for the last few years, especially guys like Levante David, that is like one of the most unsung heroes of the NFL. And so now hopefully guys like that don't get the Pro Bowls, don't get those kind of things that they deserve, that this could be the year.
Now, you talk about having those Pro Bowlers. You had elite weapons in Tampa Bay before Brady got to town. Now, how has it been watching that mesh? And what's it like to see Brady stepping into a new offense?
Yeah, I mean, he definitely came in and has been in command from day one. Does not seem like the new guy. Does not seem like this has phased him even in the least. He is a vocal leader, and you can tell that he gets guys fired up. And I mean, there's nothing like getting a compliment from the GOAT, right? So you run a route well, and he tells you that. Guys have a little spring in their step when they're running back to the line of scrimmage, I think. And yeah, I mean, it's been so fun to watch him throw to Gronk, OJ, Cam Brate, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, all in one practice. It's like, this feels like a Pro Bowl already. Like you're watching just such an elite offensive group. And there are so many weapons that I have just found myself thinking, I'm just so glad I'm not a defensive coordinator trying to figure that out. Like, I don't know how they're going to do it. It's great.
What's it like seeing Coach Arians manage this whole thing? Because you brought, these are huge personalities you bring in. Coach is a big personality that we all love here in the league. But what's it like seeing him run this thing?
Yeah, I think something I love about him is he's a big personality, but not in a way that like takes away from anyone else's. He's not like a domineering guy. He's more just, everybody loves him. He's got a lot of personality, but him, along with every other one of those guys we mentioned, there are no guys on this team that I would call divas. There are no guys that are the look at me. They're all They're incredible players. And yes, they are personalities in the sense that they've had success. And you got a lot of personality with guys like Gronk that it's, the stand-up comedian side as well, but none of them are personalities where it would clash or that it would be in conflict with each other. And that's what I've loved. They're all helping each other. I mean, Cam and Gronk and OJ are always over there chatting amongst themselves and pointing. You can tell they're talking about things that everyone is trying to help each other. And Coach Arians' phrase has always been one team, one cause, and that is the Super Bowl. So you can really tell that's how they're all viewing it, that yes, there's a lot of incredible weapons, but they're all on the same mindset of we're just trying to win a Super Bowl here.
Yeah, it's so cool that now you guys are submerged in this Super Bowl conversation. Every channel you watch, they're talking Bucs Super Bowl chances. Now, we have big names, a lot of sexy names that everybody's talking about. Who are the guys right now that you're seeing at camp flying under the radar that you could see being huge pieces of this team?
Okay, well, if you want to talk about the offensive side of things, I think that two of the wide receivers that have gotten a lot of attention and praise have been Scotty Miller and Justin Watson. Those are guys that, and I think it's impressive because, again, they're going to be very needed potentially when a lot of these rookies who may have normally gotten a spot or had a lot more time, they don't have all the reps this year. Right. So if you're guys that have already been here and been in the offense for a year can look really good, I think that's probably really encouraging because you're like, hey, look, at least they already know this drill. They know this offense. They know how the league works. And both of them have received a lot of praise from coach, from other guys on the team. Scotty Miller is so fast. I mean, this kid is
lightning bolt,
blazing speed, super quick, shifty, small guy that can get in there and find those, but he can also go long. That was one of the first big impressive Brady plays was this 60-yard bomb to Scotty Miller. And Scotty said after practice that Brady couldn't have put it in a better spot if he handed it off to him.
Oh,
and I thought,
wow.
That was just one of my favorite quotes. And I think that was great. And it's been cool to hear guys like him and Chris Godwin has mentioned this, that they're like, man, I'd heard people talking about Brady last year saying like, oh, his arms lost some velocity or, oh, he's a little older. And they're like, I don't know who's saying that. I don't know where that came from. They're like, he's slinging that thing. Like he's got some velocity there.
That is very, very cool. Now, looking at this team, where you've seen, obviously you were with the Rams before, now you've done half a decade with the Bucs. You've seen different training camps. You know this process. How different is this COVID era? We're seeing on Hard Knocks a little bit, right? We get a little taste, but you're living it. What is it like compared to other years? And do you think these teams are going to be ready week one with no preseason?
Yeah, it's really tough. I think that it's kind of two separate conversations of what is it like for people like me versus what is it like for the team. I have been amazed at how ready the team does seem. They will occasionally talk about some things of, guys, maybe there was a drop here or something that they didn't think they should have made, where you could make an argument, okay, maybe they are still knocking a little bit of rust off in some areas. But really, I mean, the fact that coach has said offense and defense have been battling it out, typically in camp, your defense will be ahead of your offense, because the offense is still learning all the complexities and the ins and outs of that. Whereas defense, there's some guys that it's just like, hey, go hit him. And it's a little bit less in terms of the catching up and adding new guys into the mix. It can just be easier for a defense to kind of hit their stride soon.
Right.
So to me, when I hear that, that's so encouraging because the offense would have been the part I was worried about, a new quarterback getting, the chemistry with the wide receivers, getting all the playbook figured out. And so if they're battling already in camp, I think that's a great sign. I think they're going to be a lot more ready than people give them credit for. These guys, they know what it takes to be a pro. They know what it takes to learn the playbook, and they were doing that on their own this offseason. Even though they couldn't be in the building, I know a lot of our rookie O-linemen, they were chatting with each other almost every single day on FaceTime or Zoom, just on their own to learn the playbook. So I'm not as worried about that as I thought I was going to be. For me and people like us, it is so different, and which is just all kinds of depressing considering how exciting everything is with the team this year, that of all years that I'm stuck in my apartment and have to do Zoom. Yeah, it's just the worst. I'm going to have to do Zoom interviews. It sounds like all year. I even when we're both in the building, I'm in a different room than them because we can't do in-person interviews. And so, yeah, every day when I'm going to the building, I have to fill out a whole questionnaire about, do I have any of these symptoms, whole checklist. Then I get my temperature taken. I have to get my credential that says what tier I'm in, which tells me what parts of the building I am and am not allowed in. And then I have to get my little tracking device that slides into that credential. And that will beep at you if you get too close to people, which is so fun. And that's what they would use for contact tracing if they needed to, if anybody tested positive. So the first day of practice, it was so funny. We're all out there and, we forget that the different media members and all these other people, we're not all in the same tier. So that changes how much it will beep or not. And that first day we're out there and we're all beeping and we're like, oh God, like just trying to find where we can stand. And like, it was before practice started. A couple of players were like, back up, because they hear all the beep and they're like, yelling at us, like just joking about like, hey, you're too close, back up.
Right.
And it was funny the first day. And now when we beep, it's like, oh my gosh, like, we get mad at each other. I'm like, you got too close to me, back up, go away. Like, you're making me beep. It's so funny and very different it is incredibly different than normal years. I can't get anywhere near players and coaches. I was trying to do a vlog out there that I normally do, where normally I would just kind of turn and like selfie mode it with a guy and like walk and talk. This time I had to be like, 10, 15 away. And I was like, hey, how's it going? And they were like, what? Like, and we're like yelling at each other I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah,
get yourself a loudspeaker.
Yeah. That's it. One of the guys was like, you're going to need a better zoom lens on that if you're going to be doing it from far away. So yeah, it's been a very intriguing year to say the least.
Casey, what right now are you most excited for going into this season? Getting to see everything, what's the number one on your list?
I'm not going to, I feel like this is just such a cheesy answer, but Tom Brady's first touchdown. I mean, you have to be excited about that, right? The first time that you get to hear touchdown Tom Brady and the cannons firing. And I'm ready to see the team back in the stadium with the cannons and the excitement of that on game day and it being here. And especially maybe even like a Brady to Mike Evans or a Brady to Gronk that like, the combination of like someone that's been with us with Brady and then now the Brady to Gronk, the first time you get that good, the Gronk spike happening in our end zone and it being a good thing for us. I'm like, that sounds like that's going to be pretty fun to watch.
Well, hopefully you're going to get a nice sight week 1. You got the Saints. That's going to be a tough one, but we're all excited for it.
Yeah, it's going to be weird to watch that game happen with no fans. I mean, man, Saints fans, they definitely make their presence known when we've gone there in the past. So it'll be interesting to see how that piped in crowd noise compares to the real thing. And I'm sure it'll probably, help us out that it's just the piped in stuff and not the real people. So that's going to be really weird.
It will be. Well, Casey, you keep us well informed out there in Tampa Bay. Thank you so much for catching up with the NFL alumni. And guys, be sure to follow Casey at Casey Reporting on Instagram. It is well worth the follow. Casey, thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.